Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, everybody, it's Dr. B, and I wanted to welcome my friend Cynthia Nichols to our school community, the Life Print Collective, and we're going to chat today and do a one-on-one call about some relationship stuff and communication and how trauma seeps into that and what we can do to make those conversations more productive and more trauma informed. And so, with that, let's just jump on in.
All right. Hi, everyone. Hey, Dr. B. Thanks for having me. Okay, so I have a couple of questions. The one that's at the forefront is that my husband was raised by a single mother, and he was an all-star uh, athlete, and so was in every sport. But he does recall that his mom really never showed up for him, and he did really great accolades in high school and in junior high, and he states his experiences as mom never really showed up for him. He never knew who his father was, and then when he would need his mom to show up, a championship game, a field trip, or anything like that, she was just simply not able to without any reasoning. And then as he got older, he felt like um, her statement was, because I provide food for you and shelter, that should be enough of, you should be grateful for that. The extra I'm not delving into. When he was
Got
like,
it.
oh, it was in the paper. You didn't even recognize I was in the paper at an all-star game. And so the more that they try to talk about it, the more she would say, well, I put food on the table and clothes on your back. You should be.
Just take
So here we are now, 15 years of marriage, and we have a 12 and a 14-year-old. And so sometimes I would catch him, Dr. B,
Sorry, those are my
speaking in
dogs. Real life happening. Come here, pups. All right.
speaking in a way that is not kind. And there has been some teachings from your part on kindness being courageous, and that's a model that you've encouraged me to lead with my children.
Mm.
And sometimes I catch them not being so kind and being a little abrasive and dismissive. And we're adults, and so sometimes I will call them out on it, and I will say, "Hey, that was a little, rough around the edges, with our daughter."
I'm
And
gonna
he will
pause you for
make the
1 sec
comment,
so I can
"Oh, so I."
lock this dog. Okay, we're back. Yeah,
Okay,
so
so when I would say, I would respond and say that, "Hey, that really wasn't very kind."
all right. After a big dog shift and real life stuff, I had to move rooms. So here we go. We're picking right back up to um, conversations.
So I caught him one time, or I've caught him many a times, but this one time I felt comfortable in talking to him. I felt like he was talking to our kids in a way that was kind of punitive and unkind. And, again, you lead with the model that kindness is courageous with children. And so um, I approached him about it, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of rough the way that you're kind of speaking to the girls. Oh, look at him.
Yeah. Otherwise, he'll go bark. So,
The way you were, you know, talking to the girls, and he will get on the defensive, and he will say, "Oh, so I can't talk now. You got to censor how I talk to our daughters, or you can't talk to. Oh, so now I can't talk to our daughters now." And
That's frustrating.
It's very frustrating, and that's not really the message that I want. The message I want is that uh, I feel like our if you don't get the love from your parents first, they'll go out into the world and try to seek that in some other form. And so I really want to hone in that they get their first experiences of love and attention and uplifting from the parents. And I'm not feeling that we're leading in that way when they are having their separate interactions.
Got it. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for sharing the backstory. And there's two angles to this really because there's this parenting philosophy that you want your girls to really grow up feeling so that their relationships are stronger and have healthy communication. And then there's also this relationship with your partner, your husband, who you want to have healthy communication with. So let's dive into thinking about um, first your partner's way of being raised by a single mom. Okay, lots of people are raised by single parents, and we know, that's hard. The part that struck me though was that she wasn't there for him, right? Like his sense. Now, maybe from her sense, she did everything she could. And I believe she's probably a really strong woman who did the best she could at the time. But he's also Gen X. So we were all kind of left to our own devices in that
Yeah,
generation. But at
yeah,
the same time, he clearly felt a little abandoned, right? He already has this dad who's not in the picture, but then he now also has a mom who doesn't show up when he gets all these accolades, but nobody's there for him that he really wants and needs, which is his mom, which was one of his parents, right? Or somebody close to him like that. So we can see some little trauma triggers for him that
hmm
are going on. And instead of him being able to hear that he's repeating that cycle in some way, he's hearing it as a criticism or as now potentially a rejection, right, from you. Like you're not doing it right. And so, so he just pulls away. And then that makes you have feelings which are completely legitimate as well. So what have you two done in order to back away from this just relationally and try to make some decisions about where where you are as a couple?
Well, so I feel like then when it gets too tough and I see that little, which I feel like is a little boy coming out,
Mm,
then I don't want to, I don't feel like I am discussing on an even plane. I'm
got
not
it.
discussing with another adult male where my intention is, hey, let's talk to our kids in a way that this is
Reflects our
the,
values.
yes, yes. Instead, I feel like I am talking to a 14-year-old or
Mm,
15-year-old emotionally, right?
okay.
That they're
That's very hard.
automatically, right? So then I don't want to communicate because I'm not communicating emotionally
As
with
an adult.
purity. Yes.
Yeah.
So, and so a lot of times what happens is that's the end of the conversation. And we wait till there's a moment to come back together, but we still never revisit it. It's
Okay.
almost like he's getting scolded
Yeah.
and that's it. And so my kids nicknamed him Mr. Cranky Pants,
Oh, goodness.
which
Okay.
hurts his feelings.
Of course it does. Of course it does.
but I feel like, well, they wouldn't call you that if,
Yeah. You weren't
we did
cranky
this work.
sometimes. Yeah.
We did this work,
Yeah.
and um,
So we've got a whole system going on here, right? We've got a whole system. And you coming from a place as sort of that, you're still young, but you're in that midlife
mhm,
transition where your tolerance for some of that, like,
yeah,
stuff that you don't want to deal with, you don't need to deal with everybody else's emotions ahead of yours is necessary. So you have to, take care of you too in this process. And that's an adjustment for everybody. I mean, that's an adjustment for, partners who've been in relationships for, over 10 years, like adjusting to changes that each other have. Talking to a 14 or 15-year-old is really stressful and difficult. And you've already got two creeping up to the 14, 15s. You do not need a third. So, but also from I always say like sometimes you have to go around the block to come through the front door. And what you're talking about here with um your husband is that he instantaneously is triggered and taken back to his childhood, right?
mhm.
Like that's his go-to. Oh, I just kicked my ankle. Ouch. Sorry, everyone. Um, and so what then goes on is he, I cannot believe that the friggin' dog is barking. There's a yard, there's a gardener in the yard. I'm like, are you kidding
But
me?
I don't hear it, Dr.
Oh,
B.
okay. All right, good. All right. I'm gonna edit that line out. But okay, good. Um, so then, okay, so I'm gonna back up. So we go around the block to come in the front door because right now he barks. They call him cranky pants. That hurts his feelings. Now he's back in that I can't please anybody feeling, right? He's
Okay,
operating from nobody cares about my feelings, right? And
okay,
whether that's true or not is totally irrelevant. It doesn't matter because those are his feelings. He's already got this deep sense of rejection from his parental situation early in his life. And that's really what needs to come to the surface is, you know what? I'm not your mom. I'm not your mom. And you know what? You're not a parent. You don't have to repeat that cycle with our kids. And so let's do this together from where we are together, like our values together, and work on it where it's not like you have to now all of a sudden be the mom for everyone, right? Because
yes,
it isn't kind for the girls to call him cranky pants, right? But then you're just parenting and parenting and parenting your whole household and then you're like, wait a second, where's the other adults in the room? I
there's
need
the
more
other adult.
support.
Yes,
So I think in some ways where you could potentially start, and I know you've probably done this on some level before, but we can totally do a new reset, just, starting putting all the past as the past
okay.
in this component, in this area, and without the kids around, having an adult conversation with, you know what, we keep doing the same circle. We keep doing the same circle, and it's just however it's making you feel. How does it make you feel? Does it make you feel,
Oh, how's it make
or,
him? It makes me
yeah,
feel defeated.
yeah,
It doesn't make me feel like we are moving in a direction that is healthy. And I feel like we're moving stagnant. And it, as you just described, it makes me feel like, where is the parents? I feel like, where is the parent? I feel like I have two daughters and a son
yeah,
instead of a husband and two children.
right, yeah. And that can be really sad, right?
Yes, and lonely.
And lonely, right? Like those are the root feelings of this is that, you know what? I'm feeling really lonely and sad in our relationship because, at one point in our relationship we were this. And now I feel like I need more help and I want that help with you because I love you,
Mhm.
right? We got to
Yes.
come through the door with love and kindness, right? Because as soon as we say something critical, boom, guess what?
I got a 14-year-old again.
Yeah, and it's not even you because really who he's responding to is his mom. He's
Oh, okay.
responding to his mom through you because now he can say it safely. He couldn't say it safely to
Oh,
her. So any
okay.
event that activates those feelings for him when he was probably 14, right? A successful athlete, amazing. He couldn't say that to his mom. So now it's coming out to you as you're momming your children, right? Is
Mhm.
activating him as a child rather than elevating him as a father. Because I do know him as a good father. Like he's
Mhm.
a loving father.
He
And I
is.
know that he wants to be a loving father. And so it's just that he has no example of that, right?
None.
None. Like he didn't have an example. And then what he did have came through as critical. So for him, that's his work, though, Cynthia. That's not your work. Like
Oh,
I'm not putting that on you. Like that's his work to do. But potentially, helping him to see that you're the support system for him to do that work rather than the replica of his mom.
okay.
And I'm not blaming you for being the quote replica of the mom because you're not. But we all get placed in these slots from our past, from somebody else's past that we activate. And then
Okay.
it's like, whoa, 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 remember, I'm your wife. I'm not your mom. Like, I love you. I'm not I'm not your mom. I'm not your parent. We're loving partners. Remember, we're on the same level. Okay, let's stop together and let's restart.
Okay.
You can always say, let's just stop for a minute. Both of us reset. Remember why we're here together, you know? Because you're parents, because you both want to be equal. And you can't do it when you're in that tit for tat battle,
No,
especially with a 14-year-old. And
no.
maybe you need to walk away for 30 minutes or go for a drive or whatever and say, okay, can we come back to this, remembering who we are together? And then, and then I would first and foremost address his hurt from the cranky pants saying, you know, because if I get that he says, barky things to the kids. But right now, we're going to reestablish his authority and his, manhood over and with his girls, his children, right? And so when they're allowed to say, "Oh, you're cranky pants," knowing that it hurts his feelings, because we now know that it starts as a joke, but then it hurts his feelings. We don't want him to do that, right?
We
Because
don't.
that's hurtful. And
Yes.
so that can also be a conversation that all of you have together. Like, hey, dad was being kind of a cranky pants at times, but we're not going to call him that anymore because he is he doesn't want to be that kind of parent to you. He wants to be in and he's your father and he deserves respect from you and it's not an equal relationship, even though they deserve to be respected just like he does. And so we're just going to model that across the board, no matter what our communication is. And if you don't like what someone says, doesn't mean you get to say, call them a name, right? Does that
Hmm.
make sense?
That makes total sense because I sometimes hear them go back and forth. The girls go back and forth, and I have this thing of no labels, no lids, no limits. And so when I hear them
I love
saying
that.
things, you're dumb, you're stupid, you're retarded.
Mm,
I am quickly when I overhear, hey, don't talk to your sister like that,
right. Yes.
and reaffirming. Sometimes they will come to me in the vulnerability and say, well, my sister said this about me. And I
Mm,
have this, well, is that true? That's not true. So why does it matter? Because really, that's the model I want when they go out to the world, that people
absolutely.
don't tend to put labels and say things. And in the home, I want them to know who they are. So
Yeah.
when they're outside those doors, they have some kind of resilience, some kind of armor.
Yeah. It's the strength, their own internal loving strength for themselves, right?
Yeah.
Because in reality, we know that the world is mean sometimes, right? So when they're able to, and this is beautiful, Cynthia, that you do this with your girls as a parent. I've always known you to be this way, that you say things like that, like, but is that true? You know, because don't we all need to hear that from ourselves? As soon as we think something bad about ourselves or somebody says something bad about us, you know, or something that's just unkind or hits us wrong, and it could not even be a big thing. It could be a little thing where somebody just kind of disses you a little and you're like, "Ooh, that didn't feel good." But when we have the skill in our toolbox to say, "Okay, stop, reset. Is that about me or is that about them?" Right?
Mm-hmm.
And generally speaking, when somebody does something unkind, it's way more about them than it is about the
Yeah.
person they do it to. Like we say that, we know that, but we also have to really truly believe it. And the
Mm-hmm.
way we will believe it is building that strong internal foundation of I'm a valuable human being. And you do that for your girls. Like there's no question about it. I've seen it. So, um, but that's good. Like that's so good when you bring them back to that. Like, yeah, when somebody says something to you, like you don't have to pick up every piece of trash, right? You don't have to pick up every piece of trash on the street. If you drop it, pick it up and fix it. But if you didn't drop it, okay, sometimes we pick it up because it's important to not just let it fly away because it'll cause a different problem. But sometimes you're driving by and there's a garbage bag on the side of the road. You're not going to turn around and go pick it up. Let it go.
Okay.
Leave it behind. Now, I'm not a litter bug, so I hate using that analogy, but it actually works.
It actually was that's a very good analogy.
Yeah, yeah,
My trash is one thing,
yeah.
picking up someone else's garbage. So, Dr. B, in this situation, a lot of times I feel emotionally, I don't want to do the work. I feel so
Oh,
when
okay.
I sometimes feel like I don't want to do the work. It's, I can't, I was blessed I have
You
two
don't want
parents.
to do his work.
I don't want to do his work. And I feel like I'm pointing it out all the time. When is there going to be some self accountability that, oh, uh, I need to do better? Why does it have to be where I am always recognizing that?
Got
And
it.
I feel like I don't want to do this a lifetime. I have two girls I'm trying to grow into this world. And I feel like I'm some kind of superhero trying to shield,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah,
I want it to just come naturally that there's a loving response
right. Yeah,
instead
and
of me trying to police. And I'm like, oh, here we go. You know,
yes, I hear you. And you know, many women feel that way. Like I think of that I think of that about myself sometimes too. Like, we're doing too much. We're
Mhm.
just shielding off things all the time, and we're not literally like getting through the process. We just end up stuck in the same spot sometimes, right? Especially around issues that are just hard. So, what would happen if okay, like this is going to be hard, so just take a breath.
Uh-oh.
Okay. All right. If this is going on in your house, like it takes a little bit of tolerance for a while, like this explosion goes between the girls and your husband, right? And their dad. And you just sit back and you have no reaction to it. Like maybe you even leave. I understand that you want to protect the girls from anger, whatever, but he's not going to hurt them, right? And
Mhm.
they're old enough and they have a lot of resilience within them already. So
Mhm.
facing a challenge without a protector or a um, somebody who comes in and fixes it is going to build their toolbox.
Okay.
Okay, here's this thing going on between them. I can't stand to hear it. I'm going to run to the store real quick just to get it out of my hair, right? Forces them to deal with it, forces them to deal with it. Ultimately, either they're going to find a way to work it out between them, or there'll be an opportunity for you to say to him, oops, that, okay, I don't want you to feel like the therapist for your husband. Like, that's not what we're
And that's
going
how
for.
I'm feeling
I
like
know. Yeah. And I don't
like
want you to feel like
therapist
that.
here, then this there, and I
Yep.
feel like more and more than I don't get to be.
Exactly. Right. And I think that saying either this is never going to be a quick fix, right?
Okay.
There's not going to be a quick fix. So women typically go through these like big waves and dips in relationships around this midlife, period.
Hmm.
And no matter what, no matter who they are. And it has to do with our hormones actually, because we're not having babies anymore. So our estrogen is receding and being like, you know what? I don't need that anymore, which also makes me less interested in taking care of everybody's every need.
Hmm.
Like when you have a toddler, you don't have a choice. So
I don't have
thank
a
God
choice.
somebody gave you a whole bunch of like caregiving hormones in your body that said, I can do this and I love you anyway. You're throwing food, you know, pulling your diaper off with poop in it. You're doing all these things, but I still think you're the most beautiful thing in the world. We have the neurobiology for that when kids are two. But when they're 13, 14, and we're in a relationship over 10 years, that kind of neurobiology in our system is weaning. It's depleting. So two things. Like one, we can talk to our doctor about that. Like, okay, can you do some like hormone checks on me so I can, not so you can build them up, but just so you're balanced, right?
Okay.
Because we're good at that now. We're really good at that, and people don't need to feel guilty about using medicine or technology in
Hmm.
order to, you know,
To be
balance.
whole.
Yeah,
Hmm.
to be whole, exactly. But then the other part is, so really the change is you because the only person you can change is you. So
Okay.
eventually he will come to you and say like, gosh, this is just, probably start as a fight and just say, I'm tired. I love you and I because trust is at the heart of trauma informed care, right? We know there's trauma, and we know that in order to just be open to hearing somebody, they have to feel safety and trust.
Okay.
And so that safety and trust, when we gift that to somebody, we're opening the door without judgment. We're not going to attack. It's
Okay.
not a like, come through the door and I'm going to like bite your head off. It's
Okay.
legitimate. So that's your work is to find a way in a place that's true and honest for you that allows for that to happen without taking over as the mom. Just decide today you're not the mom anymore. You're not his mom anymore.
Okay.
And trust that the girls can handle a little bit more than they've had to
Okay.
because they can. They're getting old enough to be able to do this. And if you've heard something that's like, ooh, eating at you, say, wow, it really hurt me to hear this kind of conversation between you and your dad. And, you know, if you're open to it or if you want to talk about it, maybe we can think of some ways to do that differently
Okay.
when you're in that situation, right?
Okay.
Because Mama Bear is not always going to be there.
No.
And so they're going to have to be ready when it's not dad, mom's not there, and it's a different person, male or female, right?
Mhm.
But potentially male. We really don't want that dance to go that way. And that's another thing to say to your husband is, you know what? This is the dance they're going to do with whoever their partners are. Is this the dance that you want to teach them to dance?
Oh, now that's a very good way to approach it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that people can hear things that way when they're delivered not critically, but just as like, let's be thinking about like the long game here. The long game for them, but also let's think about the long game for us. I want to be in a relationship with an equal partner who can save me sometimes, who I can be vulnerable with. And and obviously I hope that's you know, and
That's a
I
great.
wouldn't, however I just said that, just we don't want it to sound like a threat. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
if you don't do it, I'm going to divorce you. Like, that's already going through his head. He's already playing that record. So we want to like reverse speed on that record.
Okay.
So,
Oh,
um, I don't know if that's, you know, I want to
I,
hear back. I want to do another check-in maybe in a month or something and we can like do an
yes,
update.
yes. I think
So,
that I think that is really some fantastic guidance. And I didn't really think about it um, in that way.
yeah.
That uh, I've been raising them to already kind of process and think, and to exercise that muscle of resilience because I'm not going to be there all the time, even though I'm a helicopter mom.
Oh yeah.
I'm
Oh
not going
yes,
to
we
be there
are.
all the time. And when they do experience other people and there's conflict,
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
I want them to have the tools to know how to deal with that, even when I'm not there.
Yes, and for sure. And I just want to give you this spark of reality before we go, which is that you have so been there in their lives from day one that your girls have so much resilience that you can't quite see yet because
Okay.
that's really wired in during infancy and early childhood and
Okay.
all of this time. That if you were not there, they lean on you because you are there. But if you weren't there, they're gonna be you.
Okay.
So you've got it
Okay.
already, girl. Don't worry. Like
Ah,
that doesn't mean that you should step away or whatever, but they've
yeah.
got you. They know you inside and out, and what the words that you have said to them become the words in their head
Okay.
when you're gone. So
Okay.
every time you've said I love you, they will hear that in their mind.
Oh, wow.
So, which is why it's so hard for your husband because he didn't hear those words. So that's why we have to find well really he has to find a new way of grieving that loss and growing into his new man self.
Oh, wow.
But that's his work, not yours.
Okay.
So Okay, gosh, it was so good to see you.
Thank you so much, Dr. B. Hi,
Yeah,
everybody.
always, always. Okay, well, I will see you soon, and thanks for being here, and I'll see you in the school community.
All right. See you guys in the school community.
Okay, bye.
Bye.